Happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. In today's video, we're talking about major flooding concerns across the Northeast United States into early this week, and then an expanding heat wave with triple-digit heat building across the central states as we go throughout this upcoming work week, and any changes coming for the long-range pattern. We'll look ahead to that later on in today's video. But looking first across the Northeast, we have widespread flood watches from Maine all the way down through New Hampshire, Vermont, portions of Massachusetts here, getting into Connecticut, Rhode Island. This does include Long Island as well, eastern New York State, getting down through New Jersey, eastern portions of Pennsylvania, and all the way down into the Delmarva region as we go through today. And this does also include the threat for severe weather on top of the flooding concern. So going through this afternoon, scattered showers and storms, more numerous though across the I-95 corridor, Boston to New York City, including Long Island there. We could be seeing some pretty heavy bouts of rainfall through this afternoon and some thunderstorms as well. That will continue to lift off to the north and east, becoming more widespread up here in towards Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, and eastern Massachusetts, including Cape Cod as we go through tonight. We could be seeing some isolated rainfall accumulations over 2 inches across these areas through this afternoon. And then as we go through Monday morning, we'll start to clear out from west to east with the rainfall across the northeastern states as we go to start the work week. So looking here at the total rainfall accumulation today into your Monday morning, widespread 1 to 3 inches of rainfall. The I-95 corridor is highlighted with the heaviest rains as we go over the next 24 hours. So be sure to review your flooding plans if you have to seek higher ground across these areas, as flash flood warnings will be likely as we go through the next 24 hours. And the reason for that is the flash flood probability from the Weather Prediction Center is actually highlighting this area widespread with a moderate risk for flooding. This means that we could have some isolated, significant flooding concerns that could mean life-threatening flash flooding in some of these areas within this red shaded area from western Maine down through New Hampshire, southern Vermont, getting in through the Boston region there and into Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, eastern New York State, including New York City, and the western side of Long Island, and then getting all the way down there into New Jersey and portions of Philadelphia and eastern Pennsylvania as we go through the next 24 hours. Expanding the view, though, we have the heat to talk about. Again, I know I sound like a broken record here, but we have more heat to talk about across the southwestern United States. In the orange, those are heat advisories, but the pinks are excessive heat warnings. And look at 80% of California is covered with those excessive heat warnings going through the next couple of days. And the reason why, we still have that ridge of high pressure very much locked in place across the southwest United States. The northwest flow up here into the upper Midwest and Ohio Valley does persist as we go through the rest of today. And going into early this week through Tuesday, July 18th, that center of ridge of high pressure will slowly meander further off to the east here to encompass more of Arizona, New Mexico, and the central and western Texas on Tuesday. We still have that west-northwest flow over the top of that ridge on Tuesday, and then going into Thursday, later this upcoming week, that ridge of high pressure goes down to a 600 dm across southern portions of New Mexico and West Texas. And what that means is that this is really going to get hot down here across this region with more west-northwest flow again over the top of that ridge. So looking at the high temperatures this afternoon, what to expect, we're up to 115 in Phoenix this afternoon, 125 into parts of Death Valley as we go into this afternoon and into Southern California. The Sacramento Valley, it's going to be hard pressed to see many areas under 110 this afternoon. It's going to be very hot and steamy across these regions, and even into the Pacific Northwest, Washington State, Oregon, Idaho, getting down here even into northern Nevada. We could be talking about widespread mid to upper 90s, even some 105s in some of those areas as well into this afternoon. And then as we go into Tuesday early this week, you can see as the heat and triple digit temperatures start to spread a little bit further to the east, we have triple digits from Kansas down through Oklahoma and much of Texas. Yeah, look at the state there of Texas. We could be seeing 105 for many areas from Dallas, Fort Worth, up through Wichita Falls there at 108, 103 in Amarillo, 108 in Lubbock, Texas, 106 in Midland and Abilene. It's going to be hot and steamy down there into Texas on Tuesday. And then as we go into Thursday, some of that heat will start to build further to the east and expand enough to where those triple digits will be more evenly distributed across the southern United States. But yeah, if you live in the upper Midwest, if you live in those areas, we're seeing some pleasant conditions, minus the wildfire smoke across those areas, but definitely seeing some upper 70s and low 80s up there for much of the upcoming week. Well, with the storms, we have the threat for severe weather. So we have a slight risk of severe weather from central and eastern Kansas into northwestern portions of Missouri, with a marginal risk surrounding that. Places like Des Moines, over here into Peoria, Chicago, Illinois, we could be seeing some marginally severe storms today. And from Dallas, Fort Worth, southeast through New Orleans and Shreveport, we could be seeing some storms as well. But we also have severe weather up across the I-95 corridor, Boston back there to New York City and Long Island. We could be seeing some severe weather with a slight risk of storms up there as well. And the tornado threat is highest across that area, across portions of southern New Hampshire into Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island, and even Long Island there as well into New York as we go here through today. That's a 5% shading for tornadoes, so a couple tornadoes will be possible, mainly EF0 to EF2 strength. We're not talking about any strong tornadoes by any means. And then as we go into tomorrow on your Monday, another slight risk encompasses portions of the plains here from southern South Dakota into northeastern Nebraska, and then another area or two of marginal risk of severe weather across the Ohio Valley or the northern Rockies. And then as we go into Tuesday, more of the west-northwest flow over the top of that ridge. A lot of instability building to the south, and that will fuel another MCS that will be moving across portions of the mid-Missouri Valley down here, and eventually arriving into the lower Ohio River Valley by Wednesday morning. So places like St. Louis, Kansas City, Lincoln, Nebraska, we'll be watching you into Omaha. Those will be areas to see that as we go into Tuesday. Looking at the total rainfall accumulation now through the work week through Friday, July 21st, some decent rains expected with a mesoscale convective system across the mid-Mississippi Valley here and getting down into the Ohio River Valley. We could be seeing some rainfall amounts in excess of 2 inches going through the new work week. Not too much rainfall up into Minnesota, Wisconsin, or Michigan here through the next few days. Certainly not much rainfall out west or across the southern plains because of that ridge building. There's going to be a lot of sinking air and a lot of dry weather across those areas, but it is a deluge of rainfall, though, over the next 7 days across the northeast there from Maine all the way down to the Delmarva. So definitely be sure to review flood concerns across those areas over the next couple of days. And looking at the long-range pattern, what to expect ahead here through the rest of July, well, much of the same. We have more heat continuing to persist across the western states here and across the south, with more of that northwest or west-northwest flow across the area here into the Midwest and Ohio Valley through next weekend and even early the following week, going through Tuesday, July 25th, and looking here even beyond. There are signs that once we get into the last few days there of July, much of the lower 48 here across the United States will be seeing at least near normal to above normal temperatures, with the heat really expanding across portions of the United States by the time we get to the very end of July. But looking at the precipitation outlook here through the end of July, it looks few and far between, near normal across much of the central states. But if you're underneath the strongest influence of that high pressure ridge, you're just not going to see a lot of rainfall or moisture being squeezed out. But there is some hope here for the monsoon season to try and show up, especially to southern and southwestern Arizona by the time we get into that Sunday, July 23rd through the Saturday, July 29th timeframe. There is a slightly higher than normal probability here for rainfall up down across the Phoenix region on southward. So we'll continue to monitor that. Otherwise, the main area of precipitation will be across the Ohio Valley, the southeast and the east coast, on up into the northeast as we go through the rest of July. Looking at the tropical weather update, we're still watching Tropical Storm Calvin across the eastern Pacific Ocean, and a 20% chance of development just off to the east of that system as well. It's kind of running out of room here with some cooler waters, but looking at Calvin here, this will be hitting the big island of Hawaii as a tropical storm over the next couple of days. It will be arriving there on the Big Island by Tuesday night or Wednesday morning, and then dropping back to tropical depression strength as it passes over the Big Island there in Hawaii, and then moves west of Hawaii by Thursday morning as we go into this upcoming week. So when to expect the earliest arrival time of tropical storm force winds in Hawaii? I think it'll be around mid-evening there on Tuesday, around 8-9 o'clock. That's where you can definitely start to expect more of those tropical storm force winds around the Honolulu region and a couple other islands there as well of Hawaii as we go through this week. And looking at this today, a 992 millibar low well to the east of Hawaii. Not too many impacts there quite yet, but as we get to Monday, it starts to weaken slowly, but still a 1,000 millibar low, and maybe some wave impacts here getting closer to the Big Island there on Monday tomorrow. Then by the time we get to Tuesday, those tropical storm force winds will be moving in, like I said, mid-evening, 8 to 9 o'clock around those areas. And this will still be a tropical storm at a 1,002 millibar low here on Tuesday. And then as it crosses over the islands of Hawaii on Wednesday, the center of low will start to get impacted by the landmass here a little bit, and we'll start to weaken this back to a tropical depression by the time we get into Wednesday night and into Thursday. Looking at the rainfall accumulation across the islands here of Hawaii, it looks like the heaviest rain will go just north of a lot of the islands here, but the eastern side of the Big Island there, including the Honolulu region, could be seeing a couple inches of rainfall as we go through that Friday, July 21st timeframe. So something to keep an eye on there. Likely not a big, significant flash flood maker here or wind maker, but just a nuisance type of system across Hawaii. We'll keep an eye on that. Looking at the North Atlantic, we are still looking at subtropical depression Don across the Northern Atlantic right now, and this continues to spin across portions of the North Atlantic, really, again, lost at sea. It's really not going anywhere. It's just going to continue to spin in the same area all the way through the week, all the way through Friday at 8 in the morning, still really not that far from where it is now, and this is still going to be a subtropical depression, and then maybe strengthen back to a subtropical storm again. So, again, Don just is lost in North Atlantic right now, and we'll continue to watch that over the next few days. Well, if you like detailed weather breakdowns on North America, including southern Canada, the United States, and the tropics, this is the channel to be had here, so definitely be able to press the subscribe button down below. It is free to do. So thanks for all the new subscribers and all the supporters out there. I really do appreciate it. We are on the road to 33,000 subscribers, so I appreciate that as well. If you like today's video and today's content, be sure to press the like button, the thumbs up button down below the video. It does help out more than you know. And if you want to follow me on Twitter for additional weather forecast updates, the link is down below in the description below the video here. Click on that and follow me on Twitter at hweather420. I do post on that platform fairly frequently throughout the week. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching today's video. Leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. I'll get to those later on today, and I hope everybody has a great rest of their weekend out there.